张教授，现在直播已经连通，我们现在准备开始好吗？
好。
Good evening, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the 163rd Jour Fixe of Stiftung Exoriente. My name is Rong Wang. I'm in charge of public relations and project management in Confucius-Institut Munich. Some of you are already aware that traditionally Jour Fixe has been held in person at our institute. Due to the coronavirus, we were forced to make alternate arrangements. Therefore, this is for the 10th time we had Jour Fixe online. A positive spin-off has been the fact that we now have the ability to include people who reside in other countries. For instance, we have Professor Zhang Boyu, who is joining us today from Beijing. I would like to express my gratitude to Professor Zhang. It's midnight his time. And additionally, today is the first day of our Chinese New Year. We are very appreciative that you have decided to join us at this late hour on such a family day. Thank you very much, Professor Zhang.
Thank you. Thank you.
Professor Zhang is professor of ethnomusicology at Department of Musicology in Central Conservatory of Music in Beijing. He's also the vice chairman of Chinese Traditional Music Association. Today's topic is history and scope of Chinese traditional music. Since the beginning of the 20th century, Chinese people have been faced a conflict between the traditional and the modern cultures. Western music has flooded into Chinese musical life, having an extraordinary influence on Chinese traditional music. In the next 40 minutes, Professor Zhang will not only introduce the historical music instruments to us, but also the newly established National Orchestra grew up from both the traditional and modern musical cultures. The presentation is followed by a 20-minute Q&A session. Before we start today's presentation, I would like to introduce you another upcoming event. We will give a Chinese New Year online concert on this Sunday in cooperation with the Central Conservatory of Music in Beijing and the Konfuzius-Institut Bonn. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook or check our website for more details if you are interested. I hope everyone enjoyed the presentation, and I will now turn it over to Professor Zhang. 张教授，您请。
Thank you very much, Wang Rong and Confucius-Institut. And thank you, everyone, join these events in the evening. In China, it's midnight. Anyhow, I would like to say good evening. Ich spreche Deutsch nicht. So I need to speak in English, but I hope you understand my English. If you don't understand my English, you can read screen. I wrote down what I'm going to talk about on the screen, both in Chinese and English, so you can read. So today's topic, can you hear, Wang Yong?
Yeah, we can hear very well. Please go on.
Yeah, today's topic is history and scope of Chinese traditional music. Chinese traditional music is a large concept containing many types of music, and through long history, even today is multicultural aspects appeared. Existed in different areas of China. So I just gave a very, very brief introduction on Chinese traditional music, mainly on instrumental music. When we talk about Chinese traditional music, people in China, especially in the music academic circle, scholars, musicologists, ethnomusicologists, specializing on Chinese music, they realize or they classify the Chinese traditional music into 5 categories or 5 types. Instrumental music, opera music, narrative singings, folk songs, folk dancing music. as you can see anywhere in the world. But opera music, this such a translation into using the English words. But in Chinese, it's 戏曲. It's not 100% the same 戏曲 in Chinese term and opera music. But we can't find equivalents, vocabularies in English. So it's also used similar English words to indicate the Chinese 戏曲, that is opera music. Another way is that this is not 100%. Also, this not a sharp dividing instrumental music, opera music. Sometimes in opera music, for example, the instrumental accompaniment for the opera music, when they play is off stage, off the opera context, they can be instrumental music as well. Or the narrative singings, or the folk dance, sometimes folk songs can be sung for the folk dance as accompaniment, or instrumental music can be played for the dancing music. This sometimes depending on the context. If they play on the stage as the solo or instrumental ensemble, it can be classified as instrumental music. Or they play for the dance as accompaniment, it can be a dancing music. So this is not a sharp dividing, so sometimes they mix up. So I saw few video clips, you can realize or recognize what is the instrumental music, what is the opera music, what is narrative singing. I play very short, each of them maybe only a few seconds, so you can realize. So this is instrumental music. It's very easy to recognize. This instrument ensemble or orchestra. So this is Chinese National Orchestra play in Vienna. So this is instrumental music. Then can play opera music. This is in China. There are more than 300 local operas. This is called Kunqu opera. It's the oldest opera, as recognized as the World Intangible Cultural Heritage by the UNESCO. It's a really rich music tradition. There are a lot of music called 曲牌, the label pieces. like each song with a title we call label pieces. Many thousands of the label pieces dividing the southern style or northern style. So from the lyric, the word in the song is very elegant, contemporary, young students or young people even don't understand what's the meaning of such word, because it's old, like old poems. So it's a really rich tradition, not only the music itself, but also the literature, the poem. So these are really poetic lyrics. So not similar to the the popular song. So these are the opera music, and then I play one narrative singing. So some of you may come to Beijing to have a tour. If you come to Beijing, what you want to see, if you want to listen to some music, so this is the one you need to see, to listen to. So you go to tea house. There is a tea house called Laoshe Tea House. Really in the evening, they have such a performance. But if you go to Shanghai, you say, well, I want to listen to this kind of narrative singing. There is no such a narrative. In Shanghai, they have a Suzhou Tanci, the other type of narrative singing. So there are more than 20,000 narrative singings in different areas in China. So if you understand Chinese traditional music, you need to understand what you want to listen to if you go somewhere. So that's what we are learn a lot. Need a long time to learn, a long time to travel around, to have a field work, to learn in the field work, not only learn generally. Normally in the conservatory, they don't teach such things. So we have to learn in the society. So we do a lot of field work to listen to such a music. Or we also to sing, try to sing as many as possible to learn this kind of folk tradition. And then the folk song is just the video, just the audio. So this is called the labor song, when they work together to carry things. There's one leading voice, there's a supporting or a choir. So they just try to moving things, doing something together. So they collect power together. So they sing using the song, use the music to collect the power in order to, for example, this one is move the forest, move the trees. When they cut trees, moving the trees into the river, the tree from upper part of the river, flowing down to the transport in the river. So these are like move the trees to sing such a song. So we call the labor song. Then the folk dance music. So this is the we call yellow river culture, popular in the Henan province. You go anywhere, if you go the place where they plant the tea, so they have the dance imitating the tea picking. If you go some other places, it depending on the agriculture, lifestyle, environment. So these are dancing the style of different. So this is from central China. We call the Yellow River culture. So lots of 5 types: instrumental music, opera music, narrative singing, folk songs, and folk dance music. Okay, next I'm focusing on the instrumental music only, talk a little bit about the history and the current situation of instrumental music, because we don't have enough time. I have only some 40 minutes or to 45 minutes, so I go very quick, focus on the instrumental music. First topic is historical music instruments. The earliest music instruments appeared in China include the clay drums, the drums made of clay, a bone flute, animal bone flute, whistles, clay whistle flutes, sonorous stones. This is made of animal bone, excavated in 1987 from Henan province. You can see the many sound holes, finger holes, can produce totally 7 pitches, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, 7 pitches. They dating back 9,000 years old. If you come to Beijing right now, there's an exhibition in the National Museum. This one now is actually in the National Museum. That's this one. So this is clay flute, whistle flute from different areas. They blow from top, the finger holes on the sides. These are from Zhejiang, these are from Gansu, these are from Henan. So in different areas, but the shape are the same, can produce different kind of sounds. So this is sonorous stones. These are also now this exhibit in the National Museum at the moment. It's from Shang Dynasty. You can see there's a hole here. That means that it's hung on a wooden stand. They use another beater to beat here to produce sound. I call it Jing. So until Zhou Dynasty, that is some kind like 3,000 years ago, there were 70 different types of music instruments. Could be found either in the archaeological sites or in the historical records. These instruments are divided into 8 categories, depending on material the instrument made. That is gold, not good, it's gold. The stone, clay, wood, bamboo, or gold, skin, that kind of different kind of 8 types. They call Bayin, the 8 sounds. 8 sounds means instruments made from made of 8 kind of material. So these are the wind instruments. There's a flute. This is called Yue. There's a chi. What difference? They say the flute. Flute is like no reed, only the blowhole and finger hole. What this flute with a reed? The sound producing are different. These are yu, these are song. These are plugged instruments like a qin. Se is disappeared. This zheng is still very popular. This called a 5-string pipa. These are 4-string pipa. These are actual instruments not preserved in Japan. It's also in museum in Nara. Originally, it's a Chinese king gave as a gifts to Japanese king, and now they still keep in Tang Dynasty. This Ruan, like this Kong Ho harp. These bowed instruments. Bowls appeared very late, about 1,000 years in Tang Dynasty. These pictures here is from a book in Song Dynasty. This is the instruments now still popular in the countryside. You can compare these two instruments. One is 900 years ago. This is current popular. You can compare this similar. These are bowed instruments in the historical book. So these are all percussions, the bells, different kind of bells. Not historical instruments. Historical instrument of music. I would like to talk about this, several historical orchestras. First orchestra is the Bell Chime Orchestra, unearthed from the tomb of Marcus of Zheng, Zheng Houyi. Zheng Hou, like the king of the Zheng state in the Hubei province. So in 1978, this archaeologist found a tomb in the Sui County in Hubei province. They found the tomb of the Zheng state, the king of the Zheng state. Not only the tomb, but for us, most significant is the instruments and the orchestra. So Bell Chime Orchestra, generally called 中古乐, 中古乐 in Chinese, that is the bell and the drum music in historical text. It is a large orchestra containing many types of instruments, such as the bell chime. The bell chime is many bells make a set. We call the bell chime. And stone chime, many stones. They produce different pitches. They are like a scale that we call stone chime. And 剑鼓 is the drum, double frame dish-like drum supported by a wooden stick. That is 剑鼓, like a conductor in the orchestra, as well as many others. So these orchestras first appeared during the Western Zhou dynasty and prospered in the spring and autumn period. One large bell chime orchestra set was excavated from this Zheng Houyi tomb in Sui County, Hubei province in 1978. So this set of instruments was a typical example of this kind of orchestra. The instrument included were qin, the seventh string zither, qin, zheng, a bridge zither, sheng, mouth organ, 剑鼓, the drum, di as a bamboo flute, and the yue, also panpipe, as well as the bell chime and the stone chime. So based on its large scale and composite voices, this orchestra revealed that China's instrumental music had already been highly developed at that time it was created. Also, very interesting thing is that there were two orchestras. One is chamber orchestra, another is very big orchestra containing 124 instruments in the big orchestra. The small chamber orchestra only 7 instruments. They play inside, inside living rooms. This big orchestra for official events. So this arrangement in the tomb, how the instruments are arranged. Here is the stone chime, here is the bell chime, it's the drum here. They're all here, more than 100 instruments in the middle. Here is the ritual instruments. Ritual, they offering wine or food or something. So this is called the 礼乐. 礼乐 is ritual and music. 礼乐制度 first established in the Zhou dynasty. So music has been used as the country official, what is official 礼乐 official activities like sacrifice, what is that? 祭祀 worship, maybe like worship, or like official welcoming the guest, or all these kind of activities. They use music. So these are you must. I believe you have seen these instruments. 65. Very interesting here. This bell is different from others. Why? This is not in the set, in fact. This is from the gift from Chu State, the king of Chu State. So the Zheng State, this tomb is Zheng State, king of Zheng State. But this bell is the gift from Chu State. So the king of Zheng State very like this instrument. So they moved the original one and put this one here. So for us, we are very keen to look at the original one. Where is the original one? What's the features of the original one? So we do such a historical research, not only research from historical record. We are also trying to find where is the original one. Maybe someday we found this bell. Okay, that's the first orchestra. The second is drum and wind ensembles in the Han Dynasty. That is called 鼓吹乐. 鼓吹乐 is wind and drum ensemble. So it refers to drum and wind instrument in the Han Dynasty called, there were the music organization called 鼓吹署. What is 鼓吹署? It's a bureau for drum and wind music to organize such activities. The function of this bureau was to organize drum and wind music performance during military and court banquets. So we can see this from relief, the flute, the pan pipe, this big horn here, very long horn, this disappeared. You can see the drum, the people play drum. So this are called, we don't know what's the name of this one. The third orchestra as instrumental music developed extensively during the Sui and Tang Dynasty, including solos, ensemble music, instrumental making, notation, music theory. This can be seen in the Sui Tang Da Qu. Sui Tang Da Qu is the great music of Sui and Tang Dynasty. That's called great music or composite music. The music is a large scale and very important form at that time. The form of Sui Tang Da Qu was the three parts: instrumental parts, vocal parts, and dancing parts. So these three parts came to be included in all performing arts. So this was important milestone in Chinese music history, as well as the significant phase for the development of the Chinese instrumental music. So Tang Dynasty, Sui and Tang Dynasty is very prosperous in the Chinese history. So a lot of foreign music came to China. So they have the music from other states, other countries like India, Korea, the western part of the some part is part of China, like Xinjiang autonomous region, or even in the Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, all came to China as the court music played in the Chinese court. So that all this music belong to this Sui Tang Da Qu. So from the picture in the Dunhuang, we can recognize how this Sui Tang Da Qu performed. Usually there's a dancer in the middle and the orchestra surround. Okay, then the folk ensembles of the Song Dynasty. So after Song Dynasty, folk instrumental ensembles sprung up all over the country, integrating Chinese folk instrumental music into a system that still constitute the main content of the Chinese national folk instrumental today. So that means all the music ensembles established or formed after Song Dynasty, we can still listen in the current time. So now we move to the current contemporary Chinese instrumental music. First, instruments. I show you some pictures. You realize what's the main instruments we can Chinese still used in the current China. So this bamboo flute, longer one and shorter one. So this shurna, this mainly came from Persia. This is called pipe, 管子. This mouth organ, 声. China has 55 minorities, include plus Han majority, that totally 56. So there's a minority bamboo organ. It's also for minority. It's also for minority. It's erhu. I don't have time. There are a lot of things I can talk about. For example, erhu what's very interesting is here. Here's the rope called tianjin, can stop the string. So the string not from here, vibration of the string not from here to here. In fact, from here to here, this can be moved. Can shorten or longer the string. So what the flute you can find anywhere in the world, any country. But what's the specialty of Chinese is here, it's membrane hole. That's a blowhole, finger hole, there's a membrane hole. That's a typical sound, vibration can be produced. So that's different. I don't have time to talk about it deeply. This is called the baihu, coconut, with the wooden sound box. This is a Mongolian. It's 4-string fiddle. This is a tiba. This guzheng. There's a bridge. There's a bridge under each string. The bridge can be moved. So the length of the string is changed dramatically. In fact, the vibration of only this part, because they play here, then they can change the length of the string by these kind of bridges. This one also recognized as the word intangible. What was the word? The list of humanity, intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Perhaps not the right sentence by the UNESCO. This one also. Why? Because this through 2,000 years started from Han Dynasty, it was looked like this. Until now, it still looks like this. Nothing changed. This is yueqin, moon lute. These are bigger instruments. Okay, I have some sound recordings. I don't have time to play. So that is the instruments and the solo. Each of these instruments can be played as a solo music. There's also ensemble music. Since the beginning of the 20th century, the Chinese people have been faced with conflicts between the traditional and the modern. I think you may know this if you know Chinese music life. Here we have a Western music, like a long play piano very well. We have also westernized Chinese music. So this is the Chinese westernized Chinese music. That means use the Western music because the Western music has flooded into Chinese music life through last 100 years, having an extraordinary influence on Chinese traditional music. The Chinese traditional orchestra, a type of large orchestra based on the Western symphony orchestra, is one of the results of this influence. Because they want to, as I talked in Chinese music history, there were several types of historical orchestras. But this orchestra not based on that, not developed from any of historical orchestras. This developed based on the Western symphony orchestra. So they need to make some instruments similar to the Western instruments in the orchestra. For example, they need the bass, double bass, the bass voice. So they create the large erhu, they say called the large erhu, in order to produce the bass sound, lower sound. For this mouth organ, it's keyed, I would say the buttoned mouth organ because it's buttoned. This keyed like piano organ, this a harp from very small one. Now they develop into very big, like Western harp in the Western orchestra. Now finally make this kind of orchestra. So this not so clear. They play in the Vienna. So if you don't see carefully, you think it is a Western orchestra. This is in the Beijing concert hall. I play a video. You can listen to the sound. First video was the Chinese National Orchestra. This is Chinese Broadcasting National Orchestra, the two of best orchestras. However, if you think, Chinese, now the Chinese music only westernized, there's no traditional, that's you're wrong. The traditional one still preserved in China. Where you go countryside. If you come to Beijing, you can't see that. You will see this in Beijing and Shanghai. Because foreigners come to China only go big cities. But if you look at real traditional one, you need to go to the countryside. For example, this one, 13 sets of string ensemble. These are not from countryside. The 13 sets of string ensemble refers to 13 set of pieces called in the 弦所备考. 弦所备考 is the book, music collection drafted by Ming Yi. Ming Yi is the musician working in the Prince Palace. You know, in Beijing is there's a forbidden city, the emperor of Qing dynasty or Ming dynasty living in the forbidden city. But the emperor brothers, sisters, princes, princess, or the princes. So they have their own houses around the Beijing city. In the music life also very active in the these palaces. This Prince Gong's home now open for the tourists in Beijing. Prince Gong's home, or the Ming Yi was working as a musician in Prince Gong's home, play this kind of music with other musicians. So when this Qing dynasty was, stopped, then Ming Yi no work anymore, and then he worked as the I don't know, he perhaps without any kind of work, but he wrote down the music he played in the Prince Gong's home by the memory. So he gave this book title 显所备考. So that including 13 pieces of the music. I play for you a little bit. So this is really like family music, not a concert hall music. Very light, very smooth, not so fast. People eating, drinking, talking, the music play, like a family amusement. Then you go to Shanghai. You go to Shanghai. Shanghai is a tourist place. Cheng Huang Miao is a lot of people. Really, people go there to eat. A lot of restaurant. There's Hu Xinting, a tea house, because there's a lake in the middle of lake. There's Hu Xinting. Hu Xinting, every Saturday or Sunday, there are some amateur musicians play this kind of music there. You can listen, you order the tea, you listen to this music called Jiangnan Sizhu, a silken bamboo flute ensemble. It's very, very popular in the Shanghai, including South Jiangsu province and the West Zhejiang province. Because this is the Yangtze River, south of Yangtze River, so they call it Jiangnan Sizhu. Si is string, zhu is bamboo flute. Popular in the southern Yangtze River. So in the tea house, there's 8 kinds of teas. Each tea you drink 3 cups. So that's totally 24 cups. If you 2 minutes or 3 minutes, one cup, that you'll be sit there for more than 1 hour or even 2 hours. You get others, little bit other things. Then you listen to this music. Very relaxed. Then Fujian Nanyin. If you go to Fujian, or Taiwan, or Philippines, or this area, you'll find Fujian Nanyin. They have different names called Nanyin, Nanguan, or Guanxian, different names. It is chiefly popular in the Quanzhou, Jinjiang, Xiamen, Taiwan. These are regions in the South Fujian province. Following the immigration of the overseas Chinese, it also performed in the Ryukyu, in the Japanese islands, Ryukyu Islands, and the South Sea Islands. So in the outside Chinese mainland, it is called home song, xiangyin, home song, by the local Chinese and the people also in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. And when they play this like this, 4 instruments, and there's one person sitting here in the middle play the clapper. She may sing also. There are a lot of songs, or the only instrumental ensemble, or the with vocal singing. I don't play this music. Okay, yeah. If you go northern part of China, in the countryside, in the ritual activities, some people marriage or funeral or worship, temple fair, you will see a lot of this kind of music. That is a wind instrument. So this is from Shandong. Orchestra is same. If you go Shandong, the same orchestra. So now either 2 or 1 or 2. There are 2 mouth organ. There's some other instruments. What activity why they play the music? This is recorded by myself, because here in the facing the temple of called 祠堂. How I don't know how to translate 祠堂. Wang Rong, do you know how to translate 祠堂?
Oh, it's a very good question. So maybe it's a special place for a very big family. They want to introduce their ancients there. I'm not sure.
The family old generations died already, but they put their labels in the 祠堂. So the family member invite these folk musicians each year during the Chinese New Year or during other occasions, invite musicians to play for whom? For their ancestors, play for their old generation who already died. So they play this kind of music. In this area, in Shandong area, all the orchestra orchestration is the same. If we go to Hebei, then we'll see this kind of music. You can say people worship. So you can see there are many, many musicians. These are all the villagers. So in each village, there's a music society. They call 音乐会 music society. All the families be member of the society. So only two kind of occasions they play this kind of music. One is temple fair, like now. Another is one for the funeral. When the people die, they have to play this music, in the city or even in the bar, play in the church, the music play in the church. Similar kind of function, but in the countryside, they manage by themselves. So they have their own teaching, learning process. They have a member of the performers, also member of the society. The music is rather very beautiful. It's not bad. Okay. So I don't have enough time because time already. So I give a little bit review what I have talked about. The first 5 types Chinese traditional music. When we talk about Chinese traditional music, 5 types. I hope you can remember that: instrumental, opera, folk song, narrative singing, and folk dance. And we talked about Chinese traditional music history, a brief history of Chinese instrumental music, including historical music instruments and historical instrumental ensembles, including this bell chime orchestra and drum and wind ensemble in the Han Dynasty, and also in the Tang court music ensembles, and after folk ensemble after Song Dynasty. So currently, we can find the different kind of instruments, different kind of local ensembles. Also, this newly established national orchestra, together with existing traditional orchestra. So what is the conclusion is that the Chinese music is integration of historical heritage and contemporary elements. So same as Chinese society, like Chinese city, if you come to Beijing, you see a lot of old things. At the same time, you see a lot of new things. Music is same. Secondly, integration of the professional arts and the folk tradition. So we have 2 kind of music education systems. One is the system in the conservatory, as the central conservatory I'm working. So they're mainly teaching the Western music and all Westernized Chinese music. But if you go to the countryside, you see a lot of oral transmission, or they have their own way of learning, traditional way of learning music by themselves. So that is what I think I stop here. If you have any questions, welcome to ask. I would like to answer any questions you have. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation, Professor Zhang. Yeah, today's topic is very interesting. Only our time is limited, unfortunately. Okay, we're heading to the Q&A session, and I would like to introduce you how to submit your questions. For those of you on Zoom, if you would like to ask questions verbally, please raise your virtual hand. If you prefer to ask a written question, please type it into the question box below. For those of you who are watching this live stream on YouTube, please send your questions via live chat. Okay, let's start looking at the questions. Let's give our participants some time to think of questions. Meanwhile, I have a question for you, Professor Zhang. So could you please tell us what is the most popular instrument for adolescents to learn to play in China? Do they prefer to learn traditional or modern instruments nowadays?
Yes, for the, you mean the adults?
Or also children?
Both. I think most popular instruments in China are two instruments. I think one is the piano. A lot of the children, especially children in the cities, prefer to learn piano. And also 古筝, the Chinese one, the 古筝. So these are two most popular instruments people want to learn. Following like violin or Chinese erhu. In the countryside, because people can have opportunity to earn livings by playing the music. So the young people learn Sorna. Then after 1 or 2 years learning, they can join a band. Then they play for the local activities, marriage, funeral, temple fair, whatever. Then they can, because all these kind of performance are charged, so they can learn their living. So in the countryside, people still learn like shorna, sheng, mouth organ, these kind of instruments. But not so many people learn. In the city, people learn a lot of instruments. People in the city learn piano, violin, erhu, and 古筝.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Zhang. I see there's a question from YouTube from Chef Giraffe. The question is, what do they say, what is the future of Chinese traditional music?
It's a very good question. Thank you very much. I think we have the difficulties of transmission the Chinese traditional in the contemporary life or even for the future. So we have intangible cultural heritage protection. The state or government put a lot of money for that. They selecting the right people who can play the music. They give their subsidies. They give us 20,000 RMB each year to let them to teach young students. But still, the problem because in the countryside, people need to find jobs in the cities, so they don't have so much time in their home. So that's still difficult. The society is changing. Music, really rely on the society, rely on the life. So if life changed, the music also changed. So that is the difficulties. But on the other hand, the music, if we see the music just as the sound, this can be preserved from recording, from people learning. Also now in China, universities takes responsibility to preserve their local tradition. For example, in the Fujian province, the Quanzhou Normal University to teach their students to learn their local music. And in Mongolia, Art University in Mongolia, to get students to sing Mongolia song. So they take such a activity, such a education. They call applied ethnomusicology to preserve the music. But the problem is that the music can be preserved, can be recorded, but the social function will be changed from play the music for example, for the marriage or for the temple fair to the audience, to be staged. So these are two kind of things. We, as an ethnomusicologist, we try to try to lift or leave the people's consciousness to preserve the tradition, but we can't stop the social change. So music has to be changed following the social change. All this we also need to accept such change. Anyhow, we try to preserve, try to stop such a change, not to stop the social change, stop the disappearance of the music. But sometimes we, even whatever we do, they still cannot be preserved. Then we record, we try to record, make archive, or try to let other people to learn. At least we try to preserve the sound. I hope they can understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Zhang. And the second question from the same YouTube participant, he or she recognized there are many tea fans. There are also 古琴 fans. So could you please tell us if there is something between the tea culture and 古琴 culture?
In fact, it's a different thing. Now people try to unite Chinese way of life, like drinking tea, play the 古琴. When you drink tea, you can drink tea. Play 古琴, you can drink 古琴. Sometimes they mix both together. Even Chinese calligraphy or sing something else. I think there's nothing wrong. They try to recall or try to imitate the way of old way of Chinese life. It's nothing wrong. But the nature of the 古琴, what is nature of 古琴? I think they don't understand nature of 古琴. The 古琴 is not a way of like the performance for the audience. The 古琴, the music, for example, I gave a particular example. One piece, how you make your own version of your own version of the piece. So that is the way, not only technique of performance, but also the technique of the composition, revision, arrangement, creation, music making. So they play a little bit, but they don't know how to create based on one particular piece. So that is the nature of the music. Nature of the music, you can base on the one particular piece to make your own version. So when people get together, one piece, you play your own version, the other people play his version. So they are like, they play very amusement, very interesting together, how the one piece becomes many versions. So that now this kind of music making, there's no more people to learn, almost disappeared. Then they make some tea instead. TST, I think. 古琴 is 古琴. That's the two kind of things. If you want to make unite together, it's nothing wrong. This is what you like. But what I mean is that if we want to learn 古琴, we have to learn the nature of the 古琴. That is most important.
Thank you for your answer, Professor Zhang. And the next question is from a Zoom participant, Ms. Mona Lee. She said, dear Professor Zhang, thank you very much for this interesting outline of traditional Chinese music. The question is, do you play an instrument? And if yes, which one? And then Happy New Year.
I play for you. Because it's midnight, I can't play. I play several. I play guqin, I play piano, I play pipa. Because I'm an ethnomusicologist, I learn a lot of instruments. I learn instruments. I was a professional pipa player, working as a professional pipa player for 8 years in the opera troupe. Then I enrolled as a student of musicology department. Then I went to Finland, did my PhD on ethnomusicology. Then I did research in Wesleyan University in Connecticut, United States, in Connecticut. And then I did my research in India. I learned Indian sitar. So I play many instruments, but people as a professional, but others as the amateur. I touch instruments in order to understand the music, not for purposes, not for the performance, for understand music. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Zhang, and also thank you very much for the beautiful pipa music. Yeah, let's check the question box. Okay, if there are no further questions, I would like to thank you, Professor Zhang, once again, and thank you for attending. Yeah, if you want to experience more traditional Chinese music, please check our social media platforms and website to get more information about our live concert for celebrating the Chinese New Year online. Yeah, and take care and keep safe. Remember to wear your mask in the corona time. And I hope to see you again. Hope to see you again in March at our next webinar. Yeah, and happy Chinese New Year. 谢谢张教授，大家新春愉快，拜拜。
拜。